Have you ever felt intimidated by a blank page in your journal? Or have you ever wondered how to make a journal signature in which all of the pages seem to go together, flow together, and create a whole? Or maybe you simply like adding some color and texture to your journal pages and are looking for simple ideas to do so. In today's video, I'm sharing with you a few easy techniques that will bring your signatures to the next level so that anyone looking through your journal will be sure it was created with care, love, and with attention to detail. We will be using different products, and you can find all of the specifics in the description box below the video. We have a few inks and mists, stamps and stencils, and even some embossing folders. And if you like playing with paper, I would so much appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell, as I have so much more to share with you. Today we continue to work on our Pastel Blossoms journal, and we will be working with the first signature, and I will show you some of my favorite techniques to add color and texture and interest to your pages. And I hope you will join me and have some fun with mixed media. This really isn't going to be anything difficult, as you will see in a moment. So first I'm going through the pages in my signature and choosing a blank page to work on. And I'm going to be working with some mists, and these here are Lindy's sprays. And you will, like I mentioned, you will see all the details in the description box. But what I'm using here, I just diluted them a bit with water using a technique from Andrea, who is Artimaze here on YouTube. And I diluted them with water, and I just added them to a separate spray bottle so that the color is not so in your face, not so vibrant, because that's not what I need. I just want some color accent on my pages. So I used about a fifth part of the spray and 4/5 of water. So what I'm using here is a packaging technique. I love the packaging technique. It's so fun, it's so simple, and it's so, in a way, liberating because you don't have to think about doing anything perfect. So all you need for this is just your sprays, a piece of plastic packaging, and a little bit of water. I have some water in a spray bottle, and I'm just spraying my mists straight onto the plastic bag. Then I'm diluting them a little bit more with water, and I am just smooshing them down on my page. And I had so much fun doing this, and I guarantee you will have too. And the best part of it for me is that you never get the same result twice. So even if you use this technique throughout the whole journal, you will end up with all the different pages. So it really takes no time at all and no skill at all to produce some really pretty colorful pages. And so what you see me doing here, I first dried the ink with my heat tool. You absolutely don't have to have a heat tool for this. You can just let it dry, or if you are impatient like I am, you can use a blow dryer. I don't know the term in English, but you know what I mean. So the other thing I did, I checked with my pages in my signatures, because I want this page to fit my other pages on both sides. So, I added a little bit of teal on the left hand side here. Then I added a little bit of pink, because then I have pink where this page goes, into the signature. So always, if you're doing this and if you actually want your pages to kind of flow together in the signature, always check with your other pages that this page is going to be next to. And that's what I did. And you will see how the colors actually match. So then I'm doing some very messy and imperfect background stamping. I'm using this script stamp. This is a messy script, and I love using it, and I'm not being too careful about having the whole image, or the whole stamp impression on my paper. I just want little pieces here and there, so it adds additional texture, it adds something else, on the page, something some more interest. So I hope you can see it on camera, but I really like how this turned out. It's very messy, and I also did this on this grungy coffee stained paper. But here in a second, you will see the teal, how it matches with the page from my kit. And on the other side, we have some pink, and you will see how it also matches with the page, the book page that is on the other side, like these pinks here. And by the way, guys, if you haven't seen previous episodes in this Pastel Blossom series, we are working on a junk journal together. We are making it from start to finish. And I will link the playlist below, and I will also link the kit, my digital kit that we are working with, in the description box so you can check it out in my Etsy shop. So for this one, I chose one of our painted pages. If you guys remember when we were painting the cover, we had some leftover paint. So we just smooshed it with a dry brush all over some tea stained or coffee stained pages, and this is one of these pages, and I had it in my signature, and of course I could have just left it like it was, but I thought that adding a little bit of gesso, and this is what I'm doing here, I have a dry brush and I am adding gesso to this page, and I thought it would really match the kind of the distressed look of the page, of the kit page that is beside it. So you can see it's nothing complicated. I have the cheapest brush ever, and I've used glue with it, so it's all gluey and like kind of stiff, but it still works well because for this you don't want your brush to be very smooth. You want those harsh brush lines. I think it adds a really pretty distressed look to the pages. And so yeah, so that's basically what I did. I dry brushed some gesso over both sides of this page, and now I'm just adding some stamping again, and I'm using script. I just love using script for background stamping. And then these pattern stamps are actually from Tim Holtz. They come in this big sheet, but it's quite uncomfortable for me to have the whole sheet of them on my desk, where I like to keep my background stamps. And so I just cut them out, and I have some in my stamps binder and some here at my desk. So here's what it looks like. I love it. I think it matches the page beside it so well now. So yeah, so that's another thing you can do. Just add some gesso with a dry brush, and don't be too careful about it. You want those brush lines showing. So on to the next one, and here I'm going to be using distress inks, and this is something you can do if you don't have any mist, so any inks in a mist form. And we are doing the packaging technique again, but this time with distressed inks. Distressed inks are water soluble, which means that they react with water. So I'm basically doing the same thing that I did with the mist, but instead of spraying the mist on the plastic packaging, I'm just dabbing the ink once or twice, and then I'm adding some water, and it makes the consistency of the ink very watery. And here, as you can clearly see, I just speeded up this part because this is really the same what we've already done. But stay tuned because we are going to be adding some fun elements to this page in a moment. So first, I just wanted to, tame this blank page. I didn't want the blank page to stare at me, so I added some color. And now we are going to add some stenciling. And with stenciling, what I love doing, and especially with distress inks, because they work so well together and they blend so well together, I love adding multiple colors to my stenciling. So I have the stencil. This is a cheapy one from AliExpress, but it's cute with the flowers. And I'm adding some, I think, peacock feathers for the flowers, and then some peeled paint. You will find the colors in the description box, but I think it's peeled paint for the leaves, and some more of this yellow. I think it's honey, wild honey, for the flowers, and you will see how cute and fun and colorful it looks. And of course, if you don't like to mix colors, use just one. I just think stenciling is a really great way to add again texture and interest to your pages, and it's so quick, and you don't need anything fancy. Again, I'm using the Tim Holtz ink tool, ink dabber, but you don't have to use it. And before I owned this tool, I actually was using some cheap makeup brushes, and they worked perfectly okay. So just don't feel you have to go and invest in all the fancy tools, because you can do just fine, and you can do pretty things with some cheaper tools, and you can test them out and see if you liked using the products. So now for the fun part. I'm going to, this is hugely inspired by Gibet Neri, by the way, and this we are going to be using embossing folders, but I'm not going to put them through my embossing machine, but rather I'm using this dried Inca gold container to kind of roll over my paper so that it gives me just a little bit of impression. I really hope you can see it, but I just have these random places where the impression of the leaves or the flowers that I have in my embossing folders is showing. And so it does show in real life, and it's so amazingly tactile. It adds actual texture, which is something I always like, and without adding any bulk whatsoever. So I'm just, again, not being careful at all, and you have to put a little bit of strength into it. So I pressed quite hard on my Inca Gold to try to have those impressions show, but I think it's worth it. And lastly, I just used some vintage photo and very lightly smooshed my ink tool over those impressions to kind of make them pop a little bit. So now on to the next one, and I'm looking for a page that I can use next. And I actually did not have, I think, any more actually blank pages. But what I want to show you is that you don't have to use mixed media or use any fun techniques only on blank pages. I actually have these pages that have the lace printable printed on the back of my kit pages, and I decided to pick one of those and work with this now. So first I'm just adding some gesso. Again, I'm dry brushing it, not being too careful. I just thought I will tone down this grayish tone that we have on the page at the moment. And then to the fun part. So I love heat embossing so much. So I recently got this embossing dabber from Ranger, and this is basically like your embossing ink, just in a dabber form. So I dabbed it straight onto my stamp. I chose another background stamp, and then I stamped it over very messily. Again, as you will see, I stamped it over my page, and I'm using some gold embossing powder from Ranger again, and yeah, you will see. I do love combining messy stamping with heat embossing. So this part is sped up so much, as you can clearly see, but I really wanted to leave it because I think heat embossing is just like magic. It looks so beautiful. I love watching it. So I'm watching it now on my little screen, and I'm just smiling because it's so beautiful. So anyway, I really love combining messy stamping with embossing, heat embossing, because it looks so pretty. It adds so much to your pages, guys. And now, just to add more gold, because you can never have too much gold and too much shiny, I guess. I'm just using this. This is a gilding wax or a gilding paste from Renaissance, and I'm using it to just messily go around the page with my finger, and I love it. It's so shiny, it's so beautiful. Just some stamping, of course, to kind of tie everything together. This is a another idea that you can implement. Just use the same stamp or the same couple of stamps throughout your signature or throughout your journal to kind of tie them together even more. Yeah, I really love how it turned out. Okay, so we will now have a quick, quick look at what we have created, and you will see how all the pages flow together and look together really nice. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate all your likes and kind comments. And if you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. And I would love if you shared some of your tips of dealing with a blank page in your journal, of how you like to decorate blank pages, because I strongly believe that we can learn from each other and inspire each other in this creative community. So do share with me some of your ideas of how to decorate a blank journal page. Okay, so enjoy the flip through, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!